Well, hey everybody, Wes McDonald here with my good friend Randy Dazzo, and welcome to another episode of Assessments and Insights. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing great, West. I love the countdown. It always reminds me of New Year's Eve, and it makes me happy, you know?
Yeah, just like our shirts, right? And that's for anyone that's tuning in, even if you don't care about AI, you can be happy with our shirts and our New Year's. Oh, that's great. Yeah, and I think a lot of people obviously know us, but for those that don't, Randy, maybe just a brief introduction.
Yeah, sure. I'm with Keypoint Intelligence, the Chief Strategy Officer, and Keypoint Intelligence provides all different types of solutions and services to our clients, from our platforms to our testing and our advice consulting. So many different things all around the print industry, from the office all the way up to the production. One of the areas that we do focus on is the textile and apparel space, which I think we're going to talk a little bit more later on. So yeah, I'm not going to say any more. That's it.
That's kind of neat. Yeah, and Wes McDonald, GoWest.ai, an exclusive partner with Keypoint Intelligence in the Office Equipment channel. Everything we do is through Keypoint Intelligence. It's been an awesome partnership for AI initiatives, and absolutely thrilled to do this show every 2 weeks with Mr. Randy Dazzo. And I'm joining in from Canada, if people haven't already picked up on my accent, close to Niagara Falls. And that's one of the things that we love to know is, where are you watching from? So, Randy, I know you're at an undisclosed location today, but where can you give us at least a kind of general area?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a kind of undisclosed, but I'm in Ramsey, New Jersey, so you can probably imagine where I am right now. And that's about it.
That's great. So remember, folks, we'd love to hear where you're watching from. We've had a lot of fun with the first two episodes. We've had people from all over the world, right? So that it's interesting in the live stream environment that it really is a kind of a global phenomena. The other thing that we'd love are your comments and questions. So as we sort of talk through things, this is a live stream. It's not formal, it's conversational. So if you have something to say it, share with us, or ask a question, or continue to. So remember to do those things. One of the first things that we always like to do, Randy, when we kind of go through the show, is talk about news. And I don't know if anyone noticed a little post I did a video on LinkedIn this morning. If you haven't seen it, you're going to want to see it. It's either going to scare you, excite you, or or cause some kind of response. I guarantee that. And the news is this new advanced voice feature that is slowly being released to all Plus users, Teams users, and Enterprise users. So for those using the free version, sorry, so sad you don't have access to it. But wow, Randy, I can't believe how this technology is moving.
Yeah, it is pretty scary. Scary cool, though. Yeah. Are you going to share the video or?
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I will. What I'll do is say, for those that are on LinkedIn,
Okay.
check out my feed and check out the video, because it will absolutely blow you away. What I will share is one of the things, I was playing around with it this morning, and it remembers, right? So I was having a conversation with it about things starting my morning, having a cup of coffee. And it said, oh, by the way, West, how is Luna? And because we had a conversation with my dog yesterday, and it remembered, and it was kind enough to ask how Luna is doing, right? So it's absolutely crazy. But the intonations, the ability for it to remember conversations, again, it is a bit scary. It's a bit cool. But so check out that video once you're done watching us here, right? So yeah, it's just unbelievable, right? I'd say the only downside, Randy, is that when they did the demo about a month and a half ago, it was with the multimodal functionality, so you could actually have the video camera open, walk around, and then it would talk back and forth about kind of what it was seeing.
Yep, it knew your environment and what you were actually doing, and it knew your lighting, what time of day, all that kind of.
And that's okay. I'm kind of spoon feeding us, because I'd rather have some of the functionality to play with and test. Have to wait until all of the features are ready. So yeah, pretty cool. So if you are a Plus user, a Team user, or Enterprise user, then it's a little tricky figuring out. You can reach out to me and I can get you sorted. I've already had a ton of requests from people to say, I can't find it. How do I use it? And OpenAI, it's amazing, in this AI technology world, that their interfaces are still kind of clumsy, right? Like, not very intuitive. So if you need some help with that, we can help. The second bit of news, this was, I guess it's not news because it was probably last week, right? but this O1 preview, and I don't know, Randy, if you had a chance to play around with this yet.
I have, and it's actually, it is interesting because it does a lot more thinking. It's doing critical thinking, obviously, to really understand what you're trying to ask for. With the original ChatGPT, I think it was learning as a fifth grader, and now I think it's gone a little bit further beyond that. So that's really interesting how they actually implemented that.
But again, OpenAI, it's a preview function, and it's important to realize that a lot of the things, and Randy, you and I are both, I would say, power users, right? That things that we could do, like uploading images or other documents or other things, you can't do that yet with a one preview. No live web access, right? As you would with the, with the 4.0 version. So, but nonetheless, it's really cool watching it actually reason, right? So as you ask it a question, or as you're trying to get it to work through something that you've tasked it with, that it actually shows you its thinking, right? Its logic as it's moving through its reasoning. And that's like super cool, to be able to see what it's doing versus just hoping and depending on whatever those outcomes are, right?
A little scary, but cool again,
So don't forget, gang, if you're not too afraid, come on, don't be scared. Let us know where you're watching from, and any comments and questions as we move through, be sure to share those as well. Kind of as a lead in before we get to our guest, Randy, this is kind of funny. When we were preparing for the show, we talked about this, and I love Keypoint, but you do so many things. This is one area that I wasn't aware of that you had expertise in, and it's completely related to our guest today. So tell me about TAP. Tell the audience about TAP.
So we focus on the textile and apparel area, and there's a whole market of devices. Essentially, a lot of them come from the traditional wide format area, and utilizing different types of inks, different types of films. This whole market of being able to do things with short runs or on demand has made it so much easier. And those are all different types of technologies. We also see, there's obviously the big companies that are doing things to sell, these on-demand types of products in short runs. But we also see that things like the Etsy market are becoming, very popular, of people just doing one-offs in this area. So it's, what I find is interesting is the whole AI component of bringing that into this market, which can really, allow people to customize and do things on demand where you don't even have to pick from a choice of different different, things that you would actually want to be produced, which makes it even more fascinating to me.
Yeah, it kind of democratizes things, right? This ability to have sort of design functionality, which was, previously only available to if you had a budget. And I'm not saying that it's always hideously expensive. I have seen sort of design help for, a couple $100 or $250 or whatever. But still, if you're a small, solo organization or a small business, those things can add up and really will prevent you from, doing some of those kind of things. So very cool. Yeah. So without further ado, I'll bring in our guest, and we are lucky to have Mike Lamoth from AlgorAIc. How are you, Mike?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for the invite. Happy to be here.
Well, and where are you joining us from? So that's one of the things that we love to know is where are you coming in from?
I'm coming in from my cottage in the Muskokas, and a beautiful sunny morning.
What a marvelous and wonderful modern world in which we live, right? I've been up to that cottage. It's paradise. So yeah, Mary joining in from New Jersey in the house as well. So great. And Nancy is actually in Massachusetts right now. So thanks for joining us from there.
Hey, guys.
One of my favorites, always, Sarah Henderson. I so love seeing you on these. And great to see you. Hope you had a good time at the BTA event, watching from Arizona. So you must be heading back. I think yesterday was the last day. Is that correct?
Yesterday was the last day. Yep. Yep.
So great to see you all there. And I'm wondering, Mike, if you could get into it a little bit. And I will say, full disclosure, it's actually my LinkedIn banner, right? Is that I'm actually part of this organization as well. And I was excited to start working with Mike on this initiative, right? But why don't you, for our audience, talk a little bit about AlgorAIc and Visual?
Yeah, thanks, West. This started off as a pet project, learning and trying to understand AI and some of the capabilities and how to exploit the technology, where could it be used. And I come from a background of printing. My father had a print shop. He did custom embroidery, silk screen. So it's kind of in my blood. And, I started wondering, how could we take an image or create an image on the fly with the aid of AI? And we know that exists today, but build it into a platform that would allow a user to be very creative with AI and end up with a garment, personalized, customized product in minutes, ordered, completed, shipped, where, turnaround time today in the industry for anything customized or personalized is probably 5 to 10 days for a graphic individual helping assist with the creation.
Yeah.
Not to mention everything else and picking the garments. Well, we've created a platform where all of that can be achieved in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And, it is one of those incredible things, right? That when we think of AI functionality beyond writing, because obviously that's what a lot of people do. They look at it for writing a better email or, helping write a blog or to do these other things. But the power within some of these other things for businesses to be able to leverage, right? And it looks like we got Corey is in the house as well from Dallas, Texas. Good to see you, Corey. And another proud partner of mine in the Dallas, Texas area. Really nice to see you on here, my friend.
All right.
So what I'm going to do right now is give people a sneak peek, if that's okay with you guys. I'll show people what it actually looks like. All right, let's see if I can do this. Hey, good morning, Mike. Very excited to be here with you today as we start to show off some of the exciting things that we've been working on with the Visual Design Studio. So I don't know, I'd say we just dive right in and show people what we got.
Sounds good.
Yeah, when you look at the screen here, I'm just going to share my screen so everyone can kind of, see what we're working with here. And when you first log in to the system, you're going to see this page. And for new users, you do have some options, right, that you can choose to actually get some help, because this is a new technology. And for people that haven't worked with AI before, maybe they do need some assistance to learn, what to do, right? There's also a no help needed option for those that are returning. Once you've been through this and you know how to use it, then you can definitely jump there. For the help, please, we've actually got two things that you can do. One is we've got a video tutorial, and the video tutorial is just a very simple walkthrough that shows you the different elements of what to expect as you start to do your design work. And then the second option that we have, which is really cool, is actually using an AI assistant. And so as we come in, you can actually, get to choose whichever kind of assistant you want. And Mike, as you know, I love the giraffe, so I'm going to start with the giraffe. And as we start to move through, Juno here is going to help us to actually understand how we're going to work through all of the different elements, for, designing whatever we're trying to design. And today we're going to, walk you through kind of customizing a t-shirt, right? And, Mike, that's something that's really cool, is that, from the work that you've done in the past with your companies, trying to design this stuff and using just stock images is, really kind of a drag, right? That, it never seems to generate quite the thing that you want to do. And I just love having this ability with AI to do so. So now that we've looked at the assistant, let's walk through and ready to do an actual demo. The first thing you need to do is get to select what kind of things that you want to do. And I'll just select the men's t-shirt for today, and we'll choose the everyday, and we'll choose white. And once we've done that, once we've selected the kind of product that we want to customize, now we can start having fun with the AI Design Studio. And Mike, this is a really cool feature. I mean, obviously, sometimes people need some inspiration. Everyone talks about prompt engineering, right? And they don't necessarily know everything that is needed to know. So, we've got these options up here: steampunk, Faoism, cave art, fisheye, sepia. And you can click the plus button if you want some, kind of additional option, fantasy, etc. And when you select those, it will actually work to build a design for you specific. And I'm going to choose watercolor. And of course, I can't help myself. I'm going to say Wolverine sitting on a dock with his dog in northern Ontario. And I'm just going to see what happens there with the watercolor one now. And that's it. So most people can generate a sentence, and we'll start to work through. And can you talk a little bit about what happened here, Mike? Because we weren't allowed to generate that.
Yeah, so something we put into the tool set itself to secure and protect trademark, copyright, In this case, it's found it'll actually go through and filter words, and Wolverine popped up and it stopped you in your tracks. You can't move forward. What you can do is go back and recreate that with describing the Wolverine effect, if that's what you so choose.
Old man with gray chops or sideburns, maybe. And let's see what happens there. And so we can hit go. And now you'll notice that when it's looking at it, so we made the first gate all right. So the check is complete. There's no trademark infringement. And now it's actually going to go through and check the image. And once it builds the image, what I love about this too, Mike, is that it does further checks for trademark infringement, right? Because that's one of the problems with AI right now, is that sometimes things get through. So that third layer, really helps, protect people, right? Well, look at that image, Mike. What do you think?
Like it. I like it.
I love it. And because we do it, we're now actually going to save it and use it for the mock-up. So once we're satisfied, and by the way, you don't have to be satisfied. If you want to go back and regenerate the image, you can simply re-hit the prompt again or adjust it a little bit to get kind of the, image that you want to get to, right? So we can kind of see where this is now on the front, and just like, other options, you can do the back of the shirt if you want to. Just for today, I'll stick with the, with the front of the shirt, right? And what's really cool is that although I like that image now, of course, we want to customize it, right? So we've got a unique image. And by the way, Mike, like this image doesn't exist anywhere else. This is a completely AI-generated image.
This is one of a kind.
You'll never, see this on another shirt, right? So if we do add an additional image, because we do have different ways to add things, right, is that we can look at both our library. You can see that I've actually got a logo for Go West here. I can also hit some stock designs, right? And you can actually go through and start to select things that you want to add to addition to it. And I love this one. So coolest uncle ever. I'm not sure, Mike, if that's you or if that's me, but you can see that I can adjust the size here, so I can get it to fit kind of the way that I want it to fit within the, the design. And once I'm happy with that, I don't know. I spent some time with you. Where are you right now, Mike?
I am in Northern Ontario at my cottage in Healy Lake.
So I don't know. This looks a little bit like Healy Lake, so maybe we'll say Healy Lake 2024. And once I've done this, then I can go down and select bold, and of course, any kind of colors that you want to adapt to. I think I'm gonna, maybe just stick with black for now for this. And let's have a look here and see if we can add this now to the, to the mock-up. So I'm going to add the text, and so you can customize this with any name that you want to, right? So here we go. We've got our text, and so I can put it down here, and there we go. Healy Lake 2024. And you know what? If you don't, if you've never been up to Healy Lake in Northern Ontario, you got to check it out. It's absolutely one of the coolest. Oh, it certainly is, right? Yeah, and I think I'm fairly happy with this. And of course, you can continue to tweak it and add different text if you want, different images. Like I said, there is the logo. What I might want to do is go to the back of the shirt, and because it did actually have, kind of the images, if I so wanted to add a company logo. And this is, a cool feature, right, Mike, to be able to upload your own stuff, use stock images, and of course now with the marriage of the AI stuff, just absolutely 100% customized. So
I like this a lot, by the way, because if I am a company and I'm doing a special event, and I want to bring in our logo with a unique image that's created AI-wise, add some additional text to enhance the image. I really like the functionality that we've created here. Yeah,
I really do too. And it just simplifies it, right? Because anybody can do this, and that's the important part. So a lot of small organizations, I mean, one of the reasons that this has been created in the first place is we don't all have the money for designers, etc. So, there we go. I'm going to save this now to Healy Lake. And once we generate the mock-up, then it allows us to actually move on and, kind of finish the process and be able to look at how we want to actually order the, the item, etc. Right? So I can see now here that I've got both the back and the front, which are visible. I can download these if I want to be able to save those images. And I can move on to actually order the, the product. So very exciting, Mike, to, have this in the works now. And if anyone wants to work with us, we are very excited to get this launched in the marketplace, and you can certainly message us. So, Mike, thanks very much for walking through this with me today.
Thanks, West.
Well, there you go. So pretty cool stuff, right? Yeah.
Very cool.
So a little bit further to the video, as you create designs, images, you have your own personal AI library will pop up so that you can refer to those images in the future. Things like logos, different businesses, you have a whole logo catalog. What we're trying to do is add as much functionality for the user to be as creative as they want to be and create a one-of-a-kind design for golf shirts, hats, any promotional product.
Yeah, and it really does, as I've said, it's this democratization to be able to allow people to actually be able to start doing this, on their own, right? So, yeah, and nice work on the logo design too, Mike. That was entirely you. So,
Thank you.
What I love about
rather
it,
visual.
and utilizing AI is that you don't have to be creative or an artist. I mean, and a lot of people just have ideas of what they want, but they can't really create that on their own. This allows them to do that with the power of the imagery of how AI actually brings that all together for you. So, I mean, I think it's powerful. And then bring it into, your industry, the textile industry, or even, these gifts, things like that, is just really, really cool. And that you can save you can actually create your own brand of something, using these unique images because they're yours now.
yeah, that's what's crazy about it, right? Is that I know I've read certain things out there, usually from people that I don't want to call them AI haters, right? But they say, oh, people aren't really being creative when they're, putting in a text prompt and coming up with the images. And I would argue that's not true, right? Because you still have to, when you work with any ad agency, right, that they have people that are supervising the designers and tweaking things and looking at things. And when it gets to the point where it's satisfactory, then it goes back to the customer, and the customer says, oh, I need a couple more tweaks or whatever. And that customer is not necessarily creative, but at the end of the day, they're getting what they want, right? The only difference now is, instead of that huge process that Mike was talking about earlier, that it can be done in minutes, right? That you can get to something that you like and say, yes, I would, that's something that I really quite enjoy, right? And that flexibility. Yeah, and just to see it in the world doing other things, right? And
well, the
Mike,
promotional products industry has always, sort of tried to stay away from the one-offs because of the time, the cost. It's a heavily competitive industry. Now they have the abilities with a product like this to create the user creates it, eliminates the need for the organization, the vendor, whoever it is they're trying to do business with, simplifying the process, reducing the lead time, and at the same time ending up with a product they love and want and will wear or give away if it's part of a business situation. It just creates a lot more flexibility in this world.
Yeah, it's funny, when I was actually doing the video, kind of walking through the product, Leslie said, I want one of those shirts. So we're going to order some of those shirts that we actually designed now for Leslie. She'll be one of the first customers.
I mean, like I mentioned too in the beginning before you came on, Mike, is that Etsy market is becoming so popular, wanting to have your own, one-offs, which is very, very challenging in some cases for these companies to actually produce. Like even these promotional companies, they don't want to do a one-off. Being able to do that on the fly and have the turnaround time, because I've seen some of these Etsy providers, and it takes them weeks to actually produce these things. And sometimes one time I never even got like a birthday card that was supposed to arrive on time. You miss out on some of those moments. Now, if you guys can actually do that quickly, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of systems, right? That when you think of quote unquote makers, I guess you would say, right, that are doing sort of customized things for people. My wife being in retail, that she actually worked with a lot of makers, right, that were doing custom things, and still they're using tools, right? Like if they're using, I think, what do they call it, a Cricut? I think for like doing a lot of the things that they print out and put on mugs or, or other things, right? So that they're using tools. But again, it's still, they have that whole design process. They have this whole thing, whereas something like this, which is 100% done online until you hit order, right? Like it's literally from start to finish. It doesn't involve any human intervention, right? And I think that's the magic of AI, is kind of making sure that things happen like, that, right? Get what you want, get it fast.
Right. We're connecting to a catalog, so the products are already available. The creativity is done by the user. They press order, and so everything is completed within minutes. And as a user, I'm excited. Now I'm just waiting for delivery.
Wow.
And we're looking at a 5-day turnaround.
And Mike, I can't thank you enough for coming in to talk about it today. And certainly look forward to working with you further on this project. And if anyone has any questions for Mike, certainly this video will be live on LinkedIn. You can leave your comments and questions, even if it is after the live stream. And just when you're watching it on LinkedIn, we'd love to get back to you. And again, you can let us know where you're watching from, and we do get these after the the program as well. And Mike, cannot thank you enough for for joining in today.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Yes, all the best, my friend. Yeah, pretty neat stuff, Randy. Looking at these AI applications, and that's one of the things I think people should realize about Keypoint Intelligence as well, as to talk about some of the work that you are doing to kind of look at different AI solutions, to vet them and to test, because I know that's something that you've been working on.
Well, what's interesting is that you're definitely seeing a tie-in between AI and our technology and our industry, and that's the really cool thing that I see. And from a printing perspective, from a direct-to-object, like what you're talking about, being able to print directly on mugs or being able to print directly on the garments and stuff like that, is totally in the digital realm here. And it is taking off. And it's great to see that you're actually incorporating the AI aspect into this product.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere, right? And the message I get for all of our viewers out there is that there is not a single industry that AI is not impacting.
No.
And as an office equipment dealer, as a managed service provider, right, that there are areas of your business I can guarantee, which you typically haven't thought of AI having an impact on. And hopefully, at least this episode has demonstrated for you that no, it can happen almost anywhere, right? And I encourage people, one of the things that we want to do is how can we help? And definitely you can reach out to Randy and I to learn more about Keypoint Intelligence's services that they offer towards AI. The program is called Assessments and Insights because Keypoint does both. You need to get a start to figure out where you need to start and the kind of things you need to do. Nobody better than Keypoint. And if you want to get some insights, some fantastic studies and primary research based in the area as well to learn from. So Randy, I cannot thank you enough for joining for another episode 3, I guess, and looking to episode 4. And as I always say, until next time, keep learning and
be curious.
All right. Good to see you, Randy.
Good seeing you too. See you next time.
Let's see if I can close out here.
There you go.